So just going back to what you were saying, you mentioned about DJ Quick and just these artists and these rappers and musicians in general. I think we look at art and those that create amazing pieces of work. A lot of it usually stems from pain and suffering. And you made that comment. You said that we don't know because we choose not to know, or because we don't make an effort to dive into people's pain and their stories. I think that's really something that I find really important that as human beings in general, we need to do a better job of, because we're so quick to demonize people. We're so quick to judge people and put all of these things, these negative thoughts about a certain group of people or whatever it may be. But one thing that has helped me personally is that I always try to remind myself of the fact that a lot of people, especially when you're going about your day, let's just give that example. You're going about your day, you're going grocery shopping, go put gas. So you might run into someone, when you're trying to just go about your day, who might give you a bad attitude, who might, give you a look or whatever. And we get so defensive right away, but we always tend to forget that, to ask ourselves the question, well, what are they going through? We flip the switch, flip the table. What caused them to respond that way? Because when we understand human behavior, reactions and people make decisions not just out of nowhere, and we always tend to forget that. And I think that's a really important question for us to ask: is what caused that person to respond that way, and how can we respond in that moment better? How can we love that person better? How can we choose not to react in the same way?
Yeah, sometimes it's as simple as not reacting, not doing anything.
Yeah,
it happened to me a couple of years ago. So I have this tendency to have coins in my car. Yeah, I've always had a sensitivity towards homeless people. Mm-hmm. And so when I was younger, I had the zeal for evangelism, so I wanted to preach the gospel to everybody. Yeah. And so not that I don't do now, but it's I feel like it was more misplaced back then. Yeah. And so I used to carry out coins. So when when I would see a homeless person, I would pull out, and give it to them, right? And I would always say something like, "Hey, bro, look, don't go drink," and they'd be like, "No, I'm gonna buy something to eat." All right, man, you better buy something to eat, because if you buy something to drink, I'm gonna pray that you get diarrhea. And then they would laugh, and then my mind was like, okay, they'll remember that, right? Yeah. And these are whatever, and they probably still drank, because it's probably worth it for them. But I remember one day, and my son would always see me do that. So one day I went to this burger place here in Rosecrans in Central. This lady comes and says, "Hey, do you have any change?" And I said, "Man, I don't have none today, but I'll get you next time." Yeah. And she walked away and she said, "Liar." She said something else, right? Yeah. What do you mean next time? And I understand why. Now I get it why. Because how was I gonna see her next time?
Yeah, it felt to her like you were lying.
Yeah, I was lying. Yeah. And so but in my heart I was like, no. And I looked at her and said, "Hey man, you know that I always give homeless people, I always give them, And she's all like, "Whatever, liar, whatever." And so I said, "Man, I summoned my pastor powers, and I said, you know what? I curse this day for you, and you ain't gonna pick up nothing today. You're gonna go to sleep hungry." I did that, bro. I think there was even lightning or something. And then my little boy, he said, Dad, why you did that? And I was like, this is a teaching moment. I said, "Look, Josh, you have to learn how to be grateful, because when you're ungrateful," and I went on this ungrateful, why was she ungrateful? And he goes, "Dad, but you don't know what she's been through, bro." And I looked at him like, oh, because I knew that at some point those words had come out of my mouth for him. Yeah. Now I had to live them out. Yeah. And it was just so hard to actually see that my son saw something that I didn't, which was, this lady probably has gone through so much today, and your BS to her was hurtful, and she just couldn't take it no more. It's like,
yeah. And what's crazy is that even at a young age, that he could see what was right, and actually discern that what you were teaching him to be generous and to be loving was right. And in that moment, what you were actually doing, he could actually decipher that was wrong in that moment. That is really incredible, especially to see at a young age that a child could decipher in that moment, say, "Hey, I didn't feel right about that." Maybe he doesn't know the words, but that interaction did not feel right to me. That's crazy.
Because he literally totally overlooked all her words.
Yeah.
And all he saw was this lady who was in pain. Yeah. and this guy who is that's his role model was not sensitive to that. You know, and it's like, good. Man, and then like
that's fire.
And then like even going back to the role model part, I was thinking how we kind of butchered the meaning of it. Yeah. Because like Loki, the superhero.
Yeah. I thought you were saying Loki. I was like, oh, Loki.
You know? Yeah. So he that's what you say, Loki. That's
Loki. Yep.
So Loki. If I were to tell somebody, I had a movie and they would say, I would hire him to be like the villain, but I want him to be like still be likable. Yeah. But then be evil. But you know, like for people to still like sympathize with him, but at the same time like be against him. Yeah. I would say, oh look, use Loki as your role model, right? And so, but Loki is all negative, is all bad. Yeah. But it's what you're being a role model for, and so even imperfect people need imperfect role models of what it is to live a life that's right. Yeah. In an imperfect way. Wow. But nobody signs up for that. Yes. You know, there's no like thing like, oh, let's sign up to be the imperfect. No, I want to be the guy that like when they do a statue when I die.
But that's what people do when they say I don't want to be a role model.
Oh yeah.
That's 100%. What they're doing. Yeah. They're perpetuating negative behavior and saying, let me glorify this, and I don't want to reap the consequences of that. But the reality is there is, because you're breeding other people who are going to react the same way, or you're teaching them to act that way.
And I think that's so key, because at least for me, you know, the people, or at least the men that have influenced my life the most has been people that have opened their own wounds, and they show me how imperfect they are, right? Yeah. That inspires me to say, then I have a chance. Yeah. Then I can actually make it. Yeah. Then I actually accomplish something in life, and I can become someone in life, because if he can do it, I can do it, because he's showing me, he's opening his wounds and say, look, this is who I am, and here I am. And to me, I mean, one of those is Pastor Josh that just came last week, like last time, right? So at the end of the day, like, we need more men and more people like that, because at the end of the day, like, that's gonna be I don't want to say the future, because we need that right now. Yeah. But I think that we need less superficial people, and we just need to bring it to the table. And I know that some people don't know what to do with that. I know some people it's like they throw those gems to the pigs, right? But some people actually, like myself, I own it. I was like, dude, thank you so much.
And it's crazy, because if you really think about role models, if I'm a role model, I don't choose who I'm a role model to. Yeah. They choose me. Right? Yeah. Like I don't choose who I want to influence. The people who want to get influenced by me, they choose me. Yeah. And so it is a huge responsibility. Yeah. And right now you trigger me so bad, bro, in a good way. In a good way though. Yeah. Because we're talking about like showing wounds and what it does to you. And you know, like this is gonna be such a Christian moment, but Jesus is walking with these two guys who are like, they're grieving, bro. Yeah. Because they just lost their role model. Yeah. This guy who was gonna be the savior of their people, not of the world. Who cares about the world? About them. People, yes. Yeah. And so they're walking, and then they see this guy, and they say, "Hey," the guy asked, which is Jesus, but they don't know. He says, "Hey, you know, what's up?" And they say, "You haven't heard?" Yeah. He said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Jesus of Nazareth has died," and they start just talking to him about who Jesus was. Yeah. Honestly, they start talking to him about who they thought Jesus was. Yeah. Right. And so then Jesus, without them knowing who he was, he starts going from Genesis all the way up to like whatever newest book was out, you know, from the Bible at that point. And then I was gonna say a book, but then I'm like, what if I'm wrong? Yeah. So and then he starts showing them the Messiah and all those books, right? They still can't see it, bro. Yeah. So they go to the house and they're gonna eat. And so they say, "Hey, well, you're the new guy, so why don't you bless the food?" And the Bible says that they didn't know who he was, and you're thinking to yourself, "What was he, all Carver, like Darth Vader, or what? Did he have masks? What was it, like pandemic too? They couldn't see him. What was it? How can you not?" And so my conclusion is, sometimes your pain makes you so blind to other people, you can't even see what you have because you're so consumed by your pain. Wow. So maybe that's what it was. Yeah. But the Bible says that he came and he grabbed the bread, bro. Just picture this, right? Think about wombs. He grabs the bread and then he says, "Here you go." And their eyes were open. How did they know he was Christ at that point? What was it that gave it away? I mean, it had to be his words, but no. It had to be his knowledge. No, they didn't recognize him. You know when they did? when he gave the bread with the hands, and when they took the bread, they saw, oh snap,
Yeah.
you got wounds,
Mm.
and then they noticed that's Jesus.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so sometimes in our own lives, people are not gonna recognize Christ until we are like,
Yeah.
and you're giving them, think about it, you're giving them to eat from wounded hands.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh man.
And it's crazy because that's really the power of humility.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, that's something that I see in narrative, like in scripture, is this call for us.
Hold on. When you mean scripture, it's talking about the Bible.
Yes.
Maybe. Just kidding.
So, but that to me, that's why I see it as an important calling, like as a human, to live a humble life, because the power of it is that, you know, ego and arrogance to me is like a false picture, a representation of who we are, because it's the perception of perfection. It's the perception that we have it all together.
Yeah.
But when you're humble, like you mentioned, like when you have these people in your life, these men specifically who, you know, have been willing to show you their wounds, they're humbling themselves. And when you said it gives you the confidence and the hope to say, if this person who I look up to can be successful, can make it, can achieve these things in life, that I know that it gives me the confidence that I can too. It doesn't make them less than, it doesn't make you better than them.
Yeah.
Those are the two. That's the thing that I
Yeah.
think people are afraid of humility, is they think that it's going to lower myself and that I'm putting myself under people.
Yeah.
No, to me, it like you said, it's unwrapping. It's removing the bread off to say, hey, this is the reality of who I am, of where I am today, of my story, which is why I think the power of our personal stories are so important, because it shows that through us humbling ourselves, which in reality is just showing our humanness of who we are, it actually brings us closer together. Yeah. And I think that's awesome.
And you know what? It's so funny that we live in a society right now in the United States where everything is so sexualized, just to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But when someone important with power falls, we're so in awe because they fall, and we're upset,
surprised,
we're irritated,
shocked,
and surprised.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that. There's this like this it's ironic to me, right? That when we look up to, we create this society that is so broken, right? And so inconsistent in many things. But when we see someone that is broken and messed up and make mistakes, we demonize them right away. We see that with pastors. We see that with maybe politics. You know, we see that with actors and actresses, right? And to me, it makes no sense. That's what I'm talking about. When some people don't know what to do with pain. Some people don't know what to do with the honesty of someone. That what you were saying, right? That doesn't mean that you're less. But some people will make you less if you're open and honest and humble, because they don't know how to do that, right? Yeah. So I think that, to me, I want to be a role model that leads with the hands open and with my open wounds, so that people can see that, right? If I'm going to inspire someone, might as well
be the truest form of who you are.
Yes, of course. Because you know, they say in leadership, right? You might be able to inspire people more from your wounds and your defaults and your failures than your strengths, right? And your victories. So I think that, man, this is such a good topic about.
But this is why superhero movies have done so well. Think about it. Like, as humans, we want a hero. Yeah. We want to celebrate someone. We want to see that person who is invincible. We want to see that person who can conquer all pain and all, you know, evil and all these things, because we want to see these people as the hero, as the, you know, whether it's an actor, whoever it is, someone that we just look up to. And so we paint this picture perfect, you know, idea of who they are, and we paint them as a hero, because our heroes are perfect. Our heroes are without fault. That's why we struggle when they fall. Even, I mean, I know we've had conversations where it's just hard for us to accept when someone that we look up to did wrong. But I like what you're saying, because it's the irony of it is that what does it force us to do? It forces us to offer what? Forgiveness. It forces us to offer what? To say grace, to say, hey, you know what? As much as I honor and respect and love you, your faults don't make me look at you less. Don't make me love you less. Don't make me paint you in a way that you're not it's the same that God looks at us.
Yeah.
So
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I just want to point this out because I think when we look at scripture, I think with this Revelations, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he can tell me if I'm wrong. It's in Revelation where it talks about how Jesus is gonna come on a white horse, right?
Yeah.
And I think the issue was that the first time that he came, everybody was expecting for him to come in a white horse, right? To this political strong man that was gonna lead people, right? And it came as a servant. And they were disappointed because they were not expecting that. Yeah. And I feel like many times in the evangelical movement, we want the white horse Jesus, but we don't want the servant Jesus, right? Because we want this figure that is going to show power. It's going to show, and we feel like serving Jesus is like, nah, it's not what we want,
it's
right?
Not sexy.
Right, it's not sexy.
Entertaining.
But it's like the way he came to change the narrative of humanity. Yeah. So I think that I'm adopting that. Yeah. And I want that for my own life. And I think you guys do the same thing. So I think that's something that I want to throw out.
And I think even culture, because, for example, the last, I think, superhero show I saw was The Boys.
Oh, yes.
Fire.
And, bro,
great
that show is the reason why I was tired of already superhero movies.
Yeah.
But the reason why I got hooked up to that show is because it showed us what heroes could actually be like if they were here.
Yeah.
Right. And then it makes you kind of question, oh, smack, like, you're right. Like, if Superman can actually have, like, see through walls, then hold up.
Yep. Hold up.
Hold up, bro.
Yes.
Don't tell me my boy don't struggle with something, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, like you think about those things after, and then, and even in when you look at old superhero movies, like what's the Justice League, right? Superman dies. We don't want him to die. Yeah. But that was needed in order for the other dudes to get together. Right? The Justice League would not exist if Superman would have been standing up the whole time. Yeah. And so in our lives, like, I feel the same way. I feel like when we are able to be okay with who we are, be all right with our story, and being okay with my story does not mean that I'm okay with repeating it. That's another different thing. I love
that, bro. That's good.
Right? Because if I say like, hey, I struggle with this, I'm not saying, hey, I struggle with this, so just take it.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm saying is, hey, look, I struggle with this, so I'm going to let you see on how I'm going to get out of it, you know? Yeah. And some people are going to struggle with it the rest of their lives, and some people are going to have like a miraculous story, and some people's going to be 12 steps. It don't matter, right? It's just share. Let me know what your story is, because it just might be the one that's going to help me. Wow. And so, but we don't understand is that as we try to keep Superman alive, that perfect, Kal-El person, as we want to keep him alive and well, we're preventing other people to actually find their gifts and find what they could do, right? Wow. Like we won't have Aquaman unless Superman dies. Yeah. He's going to be like swimming in cold water the rest of his life. And like so many people are going to be like the same way. And so I 100% agree. I think that when we, and again, this is a part you got to navigate, because it's not like you're going to be like, hey, hi, my name is Jefte Villalta, and by the way, I'm divorced. Yes. And guess what? I'm a single father, and I lost all these babies. And like, of course, get inspired. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Because that's what my therapist checked my heart. He said, hey, you think you're sharing because you're healthy? No, you're sharing because you're unhealthy. And so I noticed, the thing is not sharing, not sharing. The thing is why, right? You look at Genesis, and we missed it so much. When we look at Cain and Abel, and then the Bible says, and God looked at Cain and his offering. It doesn't say, and God looked at the offering and at Cain. It says, and God looked at Cain, and he's not right. Yeah. So I don't care what he brings. Right? He looked at Abel and he said, I like your heart. Doesn't matter what you bring. Right? He's gonna look at what we bring secondary. He's gonna look at us first. Yeah. And so when you're gonna do anything, even when you're like gonna be nice to a girl, right? Because let's say this. Yeah. That might probably get in trouble, but
just go for it.
Prostitution is when you go and you pay for sex. Yeah. But prostitution is also when you take a girl out to a nice seafood dinner, and you take her out to the movies, and you buy her like a good drink, because at the end of the night, you paid for sex.
You're expecting something.
So is it not prostitution?
Yeah. It's if you're expecting to receive a sexual favor for what you're paying for. So
you can make a perfect situation that is beautiful and clean. You can make it like the scene of a prostitution,
you.
something, you know.
I
And again,
get
it's
you.
not literally, but I'm saying
Yeah.
it's like you could ruin something.
Yeah.
It looks great just because you
Yeah.
brought a negative, you know.
Well, I think to use a different example.
I should have asked you guys at the beginning. Hey, what can you handle?
It's okay, we got you. Is that in those moments, like when you were saying about you're not just like just blatantly sharing your story whenever trying to just blur out your pain. I think that we find ourselves maybe trying to do things when we want to help someone, but we're like you said, we're doing it for ourselves, not really for them, because we're not actually taking the time to pay attention in that moment to ask ourselves and really see what do they actually need in this moment.
Bro, yes.
So we're more self-serving in that moment because we're thinking about what do I need in this moment, not what do they need in this moment. Yeah. So what do I need in this moment? I need to share to make myself feel comfortable or myself feel better and say, look, God, look at what I did today. I helped that person. And God's like, did you?
Yeah, did you?
Did they really care about, to be honest, did they really care about your story?
Yeah.
They don't even know you. You don't know them. So what do they really need in that moment? They probably didn't really need to hear this story. They maybe needed something else. Yeah. And that would have made, and the funniest part about that is it's probably a lot simpler than we really think it needs to be. And the simplest little gestures that we can do could have more of an impact than us trying to go and share some crazy story about our life that is true and honest, but it's not what they needed in that moment. And that's what I think is most important.
Bro, you just like, I just pictured myself. I have my little busted up car and it messes up. And then I come and I'm like, hey, Adam, man, I'm trying to fix my car. And look, man, you're like, you know what? And you, bro, I don't know this, but you have all these scars in the back. And you have all this, you know? And you're like, you know what, Jeff, I'm going to help you. Don't worry, bro. I've been where you're at, so let me help you. And then you tell me, follow me. You're going to do a good thing for me. I know you're going to lend me a car. But what you do is you open this garage and you have a bunch of cars and you're going to give me one to help me. But what you didn't realize is when you did that, you made me feel like crap.
Yeah.
So it would have been better if you just would have been like, hey, you know what? Just wait right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get something for you right now.
Yeah.
And you go and you get what I need.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you do too much, you could actually drown someone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If you give them too much water.
That's good.
That's fire.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's crazy. And I love that you said that. They're like, you're right. And I'm guilty of that, of like, all right, here's my toolbox. And then you dump all the tools on top of them when all they needed was a little wrench.
Yeah.
You know, like a little, little nail. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
But you felt the need of showing off all your tools. Yeah. And you don't figure out that now they're leaving. Not only like, man, my car was messed up, but like, man, I'm never gonna get like him, man. Like, you know, he's better than me. You know, like, oh, I was a project for, and it's like, no, like like, and think about Jesus. Do you really think Jesus shared all the knowledge he had?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No way.
I think he would have blown their minds. You know, like
they couldn't even understand a little bit.
Yeah,
bro.
If he would have said, "Hey guys, let me tell you how a car works."
Yeah.
Like,
let me tell you about an
what?
iPhone.
Yeah. Bro.
It's gonna come in 2,000 years later. But let me
Just
tell
think
you about
it.
it.
Like you're gonna call somebody, and like at the same second you say hi. In Mexico, he's gonna hear you say hi. Like their brain would explode.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, like it's the whole need to know, right? I'm gonna share with you, and I love this when he says, when the Spirit comes, He will show you all things, and he's basically saying, I know, but I ain't gonna share with you. You ain't ready.
Yeah.
And so like we gotta like do that as well. The book, I think we're helping hurts, and I think the book is the other way around. It's like when you hurt yourself by helping other people, but sometimes it's the other way around too. You could hurt people when you help them like the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy.
So I think that just to kind of land the plane, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation.
This is a jet. This is a fighter jet trying to land.
Yeah. This is a chariot on fire. We're going biblical. This is a chariot on fire. The Noah's Ark.
Park the chariot. We're gonna park the chariot.
We're gonna park the chariot.
You know what? I think that this conversation, we were not planning it just to begin with. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah, we didn't. We were talking, and the mics just appeared.
Yeah.
And then the cameras.
Bro, my guy over here was like sweating to put all this together. You're
Yeah.
minimizing his work.
This ain't
So
easy.
everything this was intentional, but like the conversation was
conversation
just like,
Yeah,
was
it's organic.
Yeah, no. But I think that this is the beauty of like having this type of conversation. You know, we
Yeah.
can go many ways, but I think we found what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that my hope, as I think my last thoughts, you know, in this whole subject of role models, you know,
Yeah.
I think my desire for everyone is that I remember one day we were having a conversation with some of my wife's cousins, you know, and I think I shared this story before, and they were battling between who was better, Cardi B or Nicki Minaj, right?
okay.
And I remember all the girls were like Cardi B, you know. I was like, and let me tell, I don't listen to their music just to begin with. And I was like, well, I think I like Nicki Minaj more, you know. So they were upset, and you know, like, and I was like, you know what? I just don't feel like she's a great example, you know. I just feel like she's careless. I get it with the music, and I guess that's the reason why people are attracted to her, right?
Yeah.
And someone said, one of Gabi's cousins said, she was like, but she doesn't want to be a role model. She doesn't want to be an example. I was like, it doesn't matter. She is. Like it's not like if she wants to, she doesn't want to. She is. You know.
Yeah.
And she was like, but she doesn't want to. And I don't know how I end up fighting for Nicki Minaj, bro, because I don't even know her like songs or albums, dude. But I just remember arriving to a place. I was heated, bro. I don't know why. And we just went to this place, and I think that at the end of the day, this is just my 2 cents. I think
Your 2 denarius.
Even to the my 2
Good-
pesos, bro.
2 golden
2
coins.
pesos.
I think at the end of the day, I think all of us are influencing someone. If we want to take responsibility or not, that's different. And I think that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that if you have the opportunity to lead someone and be a role model for someone, you know, don't just show them the beautiful thing in the Instagrammable life.
Yeah.
Show your wounds.
Yeah.
Show your pain.
Yeah.
Because that perhaps is going to be the biggest hope. And be wise, you know, evaluate the moment, discern the moment. Do they need this, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I just want to close with that with my heart. I don't know. Wise.
Yeah, man. It's I think that if I were to summarize that, I would say like we're gonna do. There's some stuff that we're gonna do regardless.
Yeah.
Let's just be intentional about it.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, even if I fail, like it feels a lot better when you're like when you know what you were doing in the process of failing than when you're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, and so like that intentionality of like understanding. And I think that for me, one of the biggest signs of maturity is not what you say so much as much as it is what you're aware of. So I would how you say it? Resumir? No. It's
to summarize.
I would summarize the word maturity in that word aware. You know,
I love it, bro.
And so like, and again, because a little kid, my son was mature at that moment. You know, when I went like Old Testament on that lady, you know, and let your crops be withered and all that kind of stuff. And he was able to like at that young age, 7, something 6, say, Dad, you're wrong, you know. And so like, and the thing with maturity, and it goes along with role model. The thing with maturity is that it's not a place you arrive at. It's not like you say something mature and now you graduated. Now I'm mature always. You know, it's not like that. It's like it's just like everything else in life that if you don't maintain it, you'll lose it. And so like I agree with you in the sense of like, hey, we're all role models no matter what. I also agree with the freedom of saying, nah, I'm not gonna be the role model you want me to be. But I think that maturity says, okay, I know that I'm not gonna choose them, they're gonna choose me, and so let me be wise about what I do, not only for their sake but for mine. And also if I do fail, let me be transparent with this so that somebody else could grow. Let my failures be the food for someone else. And if no, like for my case, if no one else, my son, bro, like I don't want my son to ever see me as a quitter. I don't want, like, that's what for me, like, look at Kobe, bro. Look at Kobe. And I never hid for my son. When we talk about Kobe, I never hide like his struggles and, you know, the stuff that went down with him, and like the bad relationship he had with his parents and all that other stuff, because that's what makes the story beautiful, right? That makes it beautiful. And then like I couldn't come here and not mention Kobe, bro.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
And then
Rest in
also
peace.
Raider Nation. But so yeah, but again, if I could summarize that, whatever that was, I summarized that way.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So my final thought is I'm still stuck on Nicki versus Cardi.
Missy Elliott, bro.
Ooh.
So
Bro.
I'm just laughing
Okay,
because
dog.
when you say
It's
you're,
point of reference. Sorry, it's point of reference though. And I think the reason why you went with Nicki Minaj is because she was more in the age where you've been influenced.
Yeah.
And now there's the other one, Cardi
Cardi
B.
B.
She's kind of like for the newer people, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And so that's
yeah.
why I'm gonna stick with Beyonce no matter who comes. You know?
Yeah, bro.
So that's just.
but it's funny because to me how you
Lauryn
guys
Hill.
first of all, so
Lauryn
Nicki Minaj's her like fans, they're called Barbs. So you became a Barb in that moment because you were defending her, which is funny. That's why I was laughing over here. But I'm like, but what's funny to me is how your conversation went to.
Hold on. Did you picture him like? Did you like all colorful and everything? Like.
Yeah, kind of. I was like, oh, he's full on Barb right now. But it's just funny to me that conversation doesn't immediately goes away from talent and ability when it comes to what you're actually talking about when you're questioning who is a better musical artist. You're going to their authenticity or their character.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like that's really the difference when people say who do they like more, especially with those two specific people, because Nicki Minaj's goal was to be the best rapper, period. That was her goal when it came to the music industry. Cardi was never concerned with being the best rapper. She was concerned with being her most authentic self in her music. Yeah. That's what people like about her. Yeah. So those are two completely different goals that they had and two different reasons why people like who they like.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just funny to me that when people get into these arguments about who's better, but you're not even arguing who's better. Yeah. You're just arguing why you like this person more. Yeah. And that's what's so funny is that how we can easily miss the point of conversations when and this happens a lot and we're gonna just this is like my last thing because this is gonna be a whole other podcast.
You know what? It's not gonna be your last thing. You can't say that. Just think about it. Like I just said about God looking at Abel first and then what he brought. Yeah. That's exactly what we do. Yeah. We're looking at, do I like you? Yeah. And if I like you, then it doesn't matter what you give me. Yeah. I'll find a reason why to like it. Yeah. Right?
That's true.
And you can miss. So sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to kind of like back off and be like, okay, I'm gonna be, what was the word? Impartial? No. Impartial. And I'm not gonna think I like you. And just let's look at the facts. And that's a whole another story, right?
Yeah. So how am I teaching you English right now, bro? I'm the one who doesn't know.
Bro, trust me. Look, I was born and raised in California, and I say stuff, like that. And so that's why I like talking English, bro. Yeah. Hey. That's all about Spanish because, again,
we still love you. So.
Thank you, bro.
No. Hey, thank you so much for your time and for just being here with us, man.
Yeah, man.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you for dropping all those great golden nuggets, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if you want more of this conversation, go listen to the Role Models EP. Stream that. Spotify, Apple Music. I'm just plugging my music.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. Hey, and we talked today about role models. We talked about together we have everything.
Firstborn,
come on. Yeah,
Firstborn.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This is the Soul Tapes podcast.
Hey, gold nut. No, Fool's Gold. That's the other one.
Fool's Gold. ASOG. We'll see you guys next time.
We out.
Seen all the abuse out that man, he ain't my father, but they always come in twos. How I used to laugh at all the jokes he used to make, but lately I've been feeling numb by all the jerks used to date. I'm in my room, lock my door and put my music on 10, praying to God to help me, Lord, hoping that man don't come in. Wow,